Right, so let's go ahead and
Yeah.
start. Good afternoon for those of you seen in Central Europe, or good morning or good evening, depending where you are in the globe. And thank you for taking the time to join this webinar. The webinar series is organized within the FAO-led Farm Initiative by the FAO AMR Working Group and the FAO Sustainable Livestock Technical Network, with the partial support from the Republic of Korea to the FAO ACT project. Today, we have the pleasure of having with us Professor Nair, a Professor Emeritus at the Trans-Disciplinary University in India. His research focuses on transdisciplinary approaches or One Health and the validation and promotion of ethno-veterinary practices to improve animal wellness and reduce antimicrobial residues in animal products. His profile is quite impressive with his significant number of research papers, and I found it particularly interesting that he developed 4 herbal veterinary products, including sprays for mastitis and ectoparasites, a wound oil, and an immune buster. And so today we'll be speaking with us about ethno-veterinary medicine as an alternative to reduce the use of antibiotics and other chemical veterinary drugs in veterinary care. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. Please keep your microphone on mute. Rename yourself with your organization country followed by your name. Note that the views presented here are, in this case, of Professor Nair and not necessarily of FAO. Please refrain from advertising your services, your company, or any other commercial products or brands. And please post your questions in the chat. We'll aim to answer them at the end of the presentation. And if not, we'll follow up by email. Please do keep in mind that this meeting is being recorded, and we will share the recording and the PowerPoint and additional resources that Professor Nair provided on the dissemination channels of FAO, like the FAO YouTube channel and others, and the mailing list that we have for this specific webinar series. So I'll stop here, Professor Nair. The floor is yours, and we'll be seeing each other at the end. Thank you very much. I'll stop sharing, and you can share yours.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for the introduction. I'll share my screen. Yeah. Yeah. I thank Enoform for allowing me to give this slot for talking to you people on the alternative approach for reducing the antibiotic use in the veterinary care. One slide about the university. We got registered by Government of Karnataka. It's a registered university. We have offering Masters of Science in Conservation Future Research, Bioinformatics, Functional Genomics, and then we also got Health Information and Analytic, Food Substance Technology Innovation, Chemical Translation Research, Community Health, and Ethno-veterinary Science and Practice. These are our courses offered, and MSc Life Science Ayurveda Biology, and we all got PhD for almost all subjects. Thank you. So, rationale of using the ethno-veterinary practices for the animal health, because India leads the world milk production by last 20 years, we are number 1, 230.58 million metric ton produced in the 2023-24. Enhanced production of milk crossbreeding strategy was being taken, and then because of that, we had a problem for large incidence of diseases in the crossbred animals. So we extensively used antimicrobials and other veterinary drugs in dairy animals, lead to high veterinary drug residues in the food from the animal origin, especially milk. And threat to human health due to the microbial resistance to antibiotics, high treatment costs, reduced milk quality. AMR is now today a worldwide problem. See, the Indian system of medicine, why we are looking at this? Because with the limited or no strict rule or policy implementation or regulatory policy, focus on reducing or controlling the use of antimicrobials, the focus need to be shifted to integrated healthcare. This is what the idea which we have. So Indian system of medicine, what are the major division? We got two streams. One is the classical codified system, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and Tibetan. They are based on theory and physiological functioning, disease etiology, clinical practices taught in various Ayush colleges and institutions. The non-codified, the oral folk traditions are as old as humankind. Symbolic relation with the codified system, dynamic, innovative, evolving, spread across about 4,639 ethnic communities all over the India. Location and ethnic community specific health-related practices, lifestyle, food habit, customs, and belief. So this is very important why we are looking at ethno-veterinary practices. And it is self-perpetuating. Nobody is supporting it without any agency to support it. It is only community supporting them. And then I don't want to go to the other stream. I am now concentrating on the ethno-veterinary practice for animals. We got uh, so many classical as well as folk medicines are available in the literature in India. But one of the key challenges is to find out the effectiveness and contemporary relevance of these practices. Safety and efficacy is very important. It is not the practice we document from them is promoted as such because we have to make sure the safety and efficacy of this one. So revalidating these formulations based on the only Western pharmacology is very difficult because the Western science and Indian science are bit different. Therefore, it is a transdisciplinary exercise what we are doing it. So documentation, rapid assessment, validation, and promotion. This is what we are doing. And differentiate what we are doing is differentiate the and identify the sound practices from the unsound one. Those sound practices which are widely used within the community to take up for the promotion. So these are strategy we use. We identify the location, we prioritize the condition, and documentation we do it repeatedly so that everything is documented correctly. Then we have a desk research. Why we do research? Because Ayurveda, if it is mentioned in the classical Ayurveda text, then we can find out that this particular combination is safe and efficacious. And then we give literature reference so that, and then we got a rapid assessment methodology. That is we use pharmacology, Western pharmacology, Indian pharmacology, we have community, we have different groups sitting together, sort of a understanding that this particular combination is good for safe and efficacious. That's why we promote them. Then we can do clinical study, whatever way we can do it, and then enterprise or product development. On identification of the safe and efficacious remedies, we promote them doing training program of farmers or home herbal gardens or even veterinarians. So this is one of the largest documentation we have done. From 24 locations, 10 state, 300 and 441 formulations, we assessed it, saying that 353 are safe and efficacious. Out of that, 34 combinations are now gone through clinical observation studies. So I will give an example so that it will be easy for me to make you understand. This is a combination we use for mastitis. This is aloe vera, and this is turmeric. And this is calcium hydroxide. We mix them together in a ratio, and then it will be a paste like this. We apply it on the animal. This is the mastitis animal. We apply it. After 6 days, it becomes normal. And if it is having hard odor or chronic situation, then we use another plant also, Cissus quadrangularis. 2 pieces also added in the paste, and then treatment is extended to 15 days. Then the animal is cured. So we got an Ayurveda assessment. I can talk to you. This is, may not be. I did not go through all etiology and properties of the plant, but the sum and substance of it, the combination, the formulation of these 3 material. This has got a property of Varna Shodha, means wound cleanser, wound healing, anti-inflammatory, anti-infective, and Primera means antimicrobial. Here, antimicrobial does not mean that it will kill microbe, but it will see that the division of the microbe is reduced to such an extent that it will be on the normal number. So this is so this particular combination is extremely good for mastitis. This is why we assess them. Then we do a in vitro study, lab study. finding out the antimicrobial activity of this particular and ethanol extract of this particular combination, aloe vera and curcuma assess, it shows that it has got antimicrobial activity against E. coli, Staphylococcus, and Pseudomonas. These are all published data. This is a publication citation. And we did a clinical trial using pH of the milk, electrical conductivity, and then somatic cell count. The blue one are the before treatment, red one after treatment of 6 days. The green one is the control. So everything comes to normal after 6 days. So these are the one of the examples which I am telling. And we also did a reverse pharmacology study after finding that this is very effective. The bioactive compound were tested for its effect against the target proteins of Staphylococcus aureus using molecular docking study. This is also published data. And many bioactive compounds in aloe vera and turmeric interact with the target protein. The castor does not have much interaction. But the pharmacodynamic study using online server pass reveals that the compound in the preparation possesses anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial properties. Again, published data. And then we also did a metagenomic profiling of bovine milk from mastitis infected udder of the cow before and after treatment with these ethno-veterinary practices. They also published data, and this is a bar plot. And this is the, when we compared with the antibiotics. This is the situation of Staphylococcus and Streptococcus in the case of antibiotics. This is the case when you use the ethno-veterinary practice. After 6 days, it almost become normal like the other veterinary. Then we also seen the other microorganism. This is before the treatment. This is after 3 days. This is after 6 days. This is a control. And these are the microorganisms we tested for the presence in that milk. So we also seen that when an animal is recovered after treatment with ethno-veterinary practices, the microbiome is almost similar to the control, means the normal animal. But if you use antibiotics, there is a lot of difference between the microbiome after curing the animal. So that means there are a lot of microbes are being changed, or microbiome has been changed when you use antibiotic. But when you use ethno-veterinary practice, it is almost similar. So why alternative approach? Validated efficacious and safe ethno-veterinary practices, that is herbal formations, are used to preventing. That is the first thing. In Ayurveda, first you prevent it. All the preparation which we have, first it can prevent the disease and it can cure also. And thereby reduce the drug residue in the milk, other food products from the animal origin. So as I said, that 441 herbal formulation for 51 condition in 10 state, 25 location. Out of that, we had 302 medicinal plant, 16 other material which is used for these particular practices. We also tried this on over 1 million cases treated for 34 disease conditions. Using EVM shows overall 80% cure. This is the data from National Dairy Development Board because they are partnered with us and they are promoting or mainstreaming our all combinations. So the recovered animal produce about 7.3% more milk, additional milk per day. And then intervention impact study indicates that 87.78% reduction of antibiotic residue in the milk in the area where we studied. We had around 220 families, household, and trained them to use it. Out of 140 was included in the study, 80 was kept as control. And we are able to reduce the antibiotic residue from milk about 87.78%. Reduce the incidence of mastitis is 84%. Enteritis is 98.2%. Infertility 98.27%. Pox-like disease 100%. So we trained over 3,184 veterinarians, about 10,076 animal husbandry personnel, over 30,000 farmers now. Established over 613 demonstration plot across the country. It is a combined data of TDU and National Dairy Development Board. And then a total of 79,832 veterinary service call has been reduced in 2019 to 2020 compared to 2017 and 18 because when a problem happened in the house, the farmers called the veterinarian from the NEDB. So when we enrolled the farmer how to make it and use it, this much reduction in per year the call for the veterinarians to serve the cow, because the farmer themselves can make it and then use it. We also developed four herbal products. One is for mastitis, the second is external parasite, and that is the immunity booster ball that is working very well, and then wound oil. So we had international collaboration we are doing with Ethiopia. We did the intervene in one of the community there. We trained the farmers how to use some of these major cases like mastitis, and there 60% reduction in the calf mortality. That is one of the results. 50% increase in the milk production, 33% increase in the income, including 20% cost reduction in the cattle health. Improved milk quality, 8% antibiotic residue reduction, improved general content, fat, protein, lactose, solid non-fat density. 50% and 30% reduction in E. coli and Staphylococcus respectively in the milk. EVP is initiating a system change in India. Healthier and more resilient animals, improve milk production and quality, reduce the use of antimicrobials and other residue in the milk, and environment such as water bodies and soil and crop plant, because we use cow dung as a manure. So the antibiotics on the cow will go to the field, it will go in the water, it go into the other environment. So therefore that is also reduced. Less need for wormer. We got a dewormer process. So no chemical is used for deworming, and improve the environment. And then UVP initiated session again, double-fold increase in the awareness of ethno-veterinary medicine among the stakeholders. Double-fold increase in the awareness of antibiotic residue in the milk, because we did a study, about 94% of people are not knowing that antibiotics will go into the milk when you give an antibiotic, if you are not kept the withdrawal time. And then six-fold reduction of preference of antibiotics for mastitis among the farmers. Earlier they used to give an injection, sir, antibiotics is enough, we cannot do the other one. Now they say that they prefer the ethno-veterinary practice rather than the antibiotics. Reduction of cost of purchase of antibiotics in one union, they saved around 13.42 million rupees in 1 year. That is 2020-21. Reduction of cost of purchase of other veterinary drugs, it is around 13.81 million saved for the farmers from the purchasing of the other chemical veterinary drugs. So this is a process which you do. We document them. We go through that strategy. We train the farmers as well as veterinarian. We do research with milk and then animals. And these are our partners, National Dairy Development Board, other partners. And we got NDDB as another major shareholders in the promotion of this particular practice. Then we got outreach programs. Then we got policy briefs, and we attach it as One Health idea, and then it is promoted to as a One Health program in our university as well as in the country. And these are the places where the map of India where we work with 14 milk unions. And these are milk union, along with NDDB, we are working with them now. And then another interesting happening which has happened is that the government of India has developed a standard guidelines, strategy for the guideline treatment of the animal, the livestock, not only the dairy animal, all animals. They prepared a standard guideline where all ethno-veterinary practices have been included. You scan this, then you will get all the data, how to prepare it, how to use it, how to apply it. All the details are there. Farmers can scan this and then get the data. It's also written that first you try with ethno-veterinary practices, then you go for the other veterinary drugs. And the promotional data material is there. In 13 languages, India got local languages. 13 languages, we got promotional material. We got also board where we also can go and scan the treatment for each conditions. Then you get all the details. And then what we can offer to the other country, train and documentation of local health tradition and resources and validation of local health tradition. That is especially ethno-veterinary practices and as well as human practices. training of trainers on the use of herbal medicine on livestock, primary health care, and reduce the antimicrobial residue in the animal products. Establish home or institutional gardens so that the people can use that particular plants in the house 24/7. So if at all they find that there's some problem for their animals in the night, they can treat them without going to a veterinarian. Pilot and herbal remedies. We can pilot production of herbal remedies. These are some of the herbal gardens which I established in the country. These are some of them which people are growing aloe vera in the gunny bags. There are some of the garden which have. There's some of the plant which they are planting on climb beds which are planting. Aloe vera, I can see it's planted in the house. And then this is the institutional garden. National Dairy Development Board has planted so many aloe vera so that it is available to all their farmers throughout the year. And then next one is the conclusion, adopting the ethno-veterinary science and practices to combat infectious as well as infection and other diseases in the livestock has been identified and tested as a key game changer in reducing the use of antibiotics in veterinary practice. Because it is not that we are knowing about it, but we are also proved that it can reduce the antibiotic residue in the milk. And then meat, I have not tried it because we are going to take up some of this work on meat and eggs. And then we also, the veterinary practices are promoted in Africa by TDU in coordination with the Natural Livestock Farming Foundation. We have already started, visited some of the places. We visited Kenya, we visited Uganda. We are going to have some sort of collaborative work shortly. We can contact me or Catherine, who is the CEO of the National Livestock Farming. And these are our partners, your government as well as non-government organization. And we got most of the precious partners are farmers or healers, farmers as well as the veterinarian in the field. And thank you for listening. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Professor Nair. Very clear presentation and giving us plenty of time to discuss. So yeah, to the colleagues attending, please feel free to post if you have any questions on the chat. And I have plenty because I am a veterinarian and I was a dairy cows veterinarian. I treated a lot of cows, a lot of mastitis, and so yeah, plenty of questions that I have. So we can start with mine, and then if other colleagues want to jump in, please do so. That's one of the first questions is this. You presented a lot of work on mastitis and milk production. How doable it is to think about these, may I call them alternative treatments that we are not so familiar with in other diseases beyond mastitis?
Yeah, well, one of the things is that mastitis is not only because of bacteria. There are other organisms are also there. So when you use antibiotics, only bacteria is controlled, or sometimes it becomes resistant. There are virus, there are other organisms. So what we do in this, earlier what we said that we empower the farmers to prepare it in the house and use whenever it is possible. But in India, it is possible because on an average, they got only 1.2 cows on an average, small farmers. But when more cows are there, it will become a labor oriented. So I converted it into a spray. It's very easy. There are farmers who said that after the spray, there is a one year shelf life for that particular spray. You milk it and then spray. If you have mastitis, you completely remove the milk, spray it for 5 times a day, 5 days, minimum 5 days. And if it is hard udder, you may have to continue it for 15 days till the hardness is gone and till the medicine it is cured. It works because I have already seen that how it is. Only the mode of action we are not done it because we are a lot of resource crunch is there. Otherwise, I could have done also. Otherwise, toxicity I have done, efficacy I have done, field trial I have done. Field trial, if you are not including the chronic mastitis, 92% success for the reduction of mastitis. And second thing is that I am able to reduce the incidence of mastitis by 84% because it is preventive. What we have to do is that 3 days you have to use it in a week. The spray is there. You can, after milking, you spray 3 times a day, 3 days in a week. mastitis preventer. And you also can use it during dry period. If you use it, this particular combination for 3 days in a week in dry period, the likelihood of getting mastitis is reduced very much. We also did a study on that, and we are published the data also.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned multiple times the issue of the residues, that you reduce residues. So this is a dummy, ignorant question. So is there actual a withdrawal period using these ethanol products? Do you still have to wait a period, or is it not applicable? This concept of withdrawal period, is it applicable or not if you use
No,
this treatment?
actually, the normal, this one is a prepared one freshly every day. But the spray is, I converted spray only because the farmer are finding it difficult if they have motor. So, and now what we have also done to support this, Government of India has taken it as a part of their standard guidance. They also now teaching the veterinarian as the curriculum of veterinary council. They will have added a curriculum for 2 credits. How the veterinarian will be now trained to use this in the field. So that is why it is supported by the Government of India. Because they have found it is very effective. We found that the National Development Board is doing it. Board has recommended that it is reducing antibiotic. They also have found that 80% reduction of antibiotic residue in the milk. Therefore, it is now been taken up by the Veterinary Council to train the veterinarians for 2 credits on ethno-veterinary practice.
Okay. Well, I've seen other.
Did I answer the question or?
Yes, and I've seen the other presentations on this topic, and I think someone raised the issue that how do you know the content? How can I say when you buy the traditional products, it says 0.5 milligrams of this or that,
Yeah.
and someone when making this kind of presentation mentioned how can you be sure that the content of what you are applying is the same every day or between different farmers or so on?
Yeah.
How do you work on
So,
that?
see, there are 2 things actually. Um, Many of the aloe vera in different places may have different ratio of the components present in that. That is, I agree. But we need only a very little percent of that particular active substance in that to cure this. Because we are applying 10 times a day if we are applying the prepared solution. But if you are applying the spraying, then the concentration is more there. So it is very useful. It's not only one compound. Why we are insisting that this whole formulation that we use, there is synergetic effect of different compound in that particular formulation to help, because we already proved it in different combinations that a particular formulation have several side active substance which work not only on one condition, several conditions can be cured. But I did not present because we only are looking at only small amount of time. Or else we already have one particular network pharmacology. We are talking to them. Network pharmacology proves that one particular combination can cure several diseases, and it will have several active substances. It will act in several locations. So for mastitis, this one I am telling that this particular combination cure 100% subclinical mastitis, 92% clinical mastitis, 56% of the chronic mastitis. Why 56% chronic mastitis? Because we want them to apply for more than a month. No farmer is doing that. After about 10-15 days, stop it. And there is a experiment which we have done. 29 animal which is completely not giving milk. All pus was coming from the udder. We treated them for 15 days. 27 of them started producing 10 liters of milk. Recovery, which is very strange that in the Western science we cannot say that the degenerated udder cells can regenerate back. And we have proved that it has regenerated and started producing milk almost equivalent to what it was before the infection. So
Okay.
that paper also, I think it is NDDB published that paper. NDDB also is doing that work.
And the final question from my side, you mentioned the relationship with the milk quality in terms of fat and protein, I think.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? You mean in the recovery rate, after the recovery from the mastitis, that the milk quality improves?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
This was actually a work done in Ethiopia. What they have done, Netherlands NLF, National Level Farming was part of this study. They have used the Wageningen University laboratory methodology. The report has come from there. The increase
Right.
in, so that also, I think it is published data now. But I have not done it in my place. I only looked at antibiotic residue in the milk in India, wherever I worked. I did not see the other part of the solid part in the milk.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we have a question from our colleague Anika, based in Kenya. Thanking you for the really interesting presentation. And the questions, or two questions: how do the farmers you work with tend to perceive ethno-veterinary practices compared to conventional veterinary medicine? And do you notice that those perceptions change in where Ayurveda is not a strong part of the cultural background? So how do you, the farmers that you work with, perceive this?
See, one of the major problem which we faced when we started 15 years before was the resistance from the farmers first. And not only farmers, farmer resist only because veterinarian resist. It is extremely difficult for a veterinarian who has studied the conventional science say that, okay, drop my gun and then use this preparation. So what strategy we started is that we first convince the veterinarians. Few of the veterinarians who had find it difficult to cure and with antibiotics. Some of the mastitis were resistant to bacteria, they were not able to eat. Then there was no alternative, so they used it. But they found it is working very well. So that has given a sort of confidence among the veterinarians. Every training we use veterinarian also part of the training program. That's why I said that I trained about 3,184 veterinarians. And the veterinarians said the farmers listen. That is why we did it. And then the farmers find it much easier. And then they know the cost reduction is the one which is attracted most of the farmers, because they can prepare it and use. So many of the ladies in the house are the one who is looking after the house. So they find out some time to prepare it and use it. But now I have made the product, then that is much more easier for them. And they are finding it is working very well. They are reducing the cost of treatment because they do not have to call a veterinarian. If it is not cured immediately for 1 day or 2 days, then only they come go to the veterinarians. So now by word and mouth it has spread. It is not because of the Ayurveda, it is because of the therapeutic success it is spread. Of course, we give as an Ayurveda as a background, it is legal in India. So we can also use veterinary Ayurveda or Pashu Ayurveda. That's why people also got more respect on it, because it's a science in Indian system of science. But it is not only folk medicine, it is also part of the scientific system in India. That's why it was it took around 4 or 5 years for us to get into the farmer as well as. And then when NDDB came in, National Dairy Development Board came in, that was also, we went and presented there. Then they asked us to demonstrate. We demonstrated that it is working for mastitis, because they had a mastitis reduction popularization program where they were not able to reduce the use of antibiotic, but then we are able to help them. So they realized that it is working. So they took up all other 34 condition and we trained them first. And then we trained the veterinarians from the other Amul and other milk unions. So, and then the universities, UARs, universities are also part of our program. We train the university veterinarians. I penetrate into the university system also. So slowly, it took about 10 years or 15 years for us to get into the community as well as the learned veterinary service people. So it's not that easy. I agree that it's not that easy.
No, and I always appreciate when colleague speakers share the time frame, that sometimes we see these things that work very well, and it seems that it comes across like in tomorrow it's ready, or next week it's available to be fully disseminated, and it's usually not that case. Success usually comes with time. So thank you for that, and I hope this addressed the question by Anika. We have another question by our colleague Mark that is also based in Kenya, and I think we can unmute him. Mark, can you please try to put your question? If not, we can put it in chat, but please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, great presentation. Very interesting to see just kind of how many products potentially there are that maybe have gone under the radar in terms of the traditional medicine. So we're doing some of farmer field school work, and I don't know if you're aware of farmer field schools, but they're basically FAO intervention where you bring farmers together on a farm and they learn the best practices for a production site, particular production system. And some of those include they experiment with different types of treatment, and we've had a few farms experiment with using aloe vera instead of antibiotics, and this is mostly in poultry. But when we talk about the traditional medicine, and I think you mentioned you made these products, I always think about where does the copyright or the trademark or the patent or whatever that you would traditionally see with with pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
So where does I guess how does that work?
Yeah.
For lack of a better,
The university insisted that I should apply for the IPR for the mastitis spray, because that is one of the 86% of the antibiotics used in the mastitis. So one product, if you reduce the antibiotics, it is the mastitis one. If you can find out alternative that. But I applied for it now I got a priority patent for that. But then I personally do not believe in IPR. Why? Because these things are eroded to a level where it cannot recover. Unless people use it, it will not survive. Conservation is one of the very important things. So why I give it to the farmers so that they can use it, they can conserve the plant, the knowledge is spread. So I think that IPR is only for commercial purpose. And this product, if I can sell it only with 5% royalty, and it is not that easy to make the product. Why? Because we got an Ayurveda understanding how to make the combinations. And we got a pharmacologist to test that one. So anybody can make a product. It is now we are trained a lot of people. It is in the public domain. But I have seen a lot of product coming into the market is not efficacious as what we are doing. And unless it is efficacious, nobody will go for it. So it is a question which we can again debate on that, whether you should have a patent for all these combinations. But I had been to Nairobi last March. I was there in that East African conference where I presented this one. And then a lot of people are interested in training. What I am telling you that even Kenya got a lot of knowledge, traditional knowledge in the country itself. So we need not to import anything from India or anywhere. We can ask them to document it. We can help them in assessing it. We can help them in producing a product. We can help in helping them to make it into a sort of training program so that they can use their own resources and their own knowledge for their community. And in Uganda, we are doing the same thing. Uganda also has got the same knowledge system. But we are training them for these practices. I send them a list of plants which we use to identify whether it is there in that country or not. If not, we'll find out the substitute. But most of the plants which are present in India as well as the other African countries are almost same. We'll be able to find out. And then if the farmers are ready to use it, I think that is the best way. Let the farmers use it. Let them reduce the antibiotic use. And then it can reduce AMR, which is a very, very big problem all over the world. So if the knowledge, if the traditional knowledge can help them, please promote them. That's only I am telling. And how to promote them? We are not promoting any of the combination which is not safe and efficacious. First thing what we are doing is that I have found that it is safe and efficacious, and some basic knowledge of Western science had to be put into that. And if any other country wanted some Ayurveda understanding had to be used, in the beginning, I can help with, that country. First assessment, we can use it Ayurveda, and then we can go for the Western parameters. And Western parameter is not that easy to use it because they got a reductional theory there. We have to find out the compound which is active, which doesn't work in this case because it is not one compound which is going to be active in this. Several compound will be there. So the formulation, whatever we are telling, have to be used, which is very therapeutically useful. Did I answer your question, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, very much so. Because I'll go back quickly to these farmer field schools. So they have like, they have a flock in these schools, in our poultry farmer field
Okay.
schools.
Okay. Yeah,
And
poultry also we have
yeah,
formulation. Yeah.
and so there's, this experiment flock, and then also sometimes we call the business as usual flock.
Yeah.
But I think it presents a really good opportunity to like experiment with some of these traditional plants or ecological knowledge, because the farmers can do it and see it for themselves on a farm that is not theirs. Because
Yeah.
in the past, we've had issues telling farmers, oh, you shouldn't use antibiotics on day-old chicks, for example, because they say, well, maybe not, but I'm not taking that chance, right?
Yeah.
Because, if I don't use them and they die, I'm out this much money, right? So
Yeah.
I think the farmer fields, and we've been trying to scale up these farmer field schools. So I'd really like to reach out
And
and keep in
see,
contact on that.
for chicken, we make a decoction, give it through the drinking water, and no
Yeah.
diseases. The prophylactic
Mhm.
thing, the chickens are safe. I had one friend, I had given it to them. He was making organic chicken, and very much demand in some of this, our country because the withdrawal period of antibiotics is 28 days. You cannot eat the meat. But
Mhm.
merely by 28 days, all the chicken come into the plate. So it is very, very dangerous. And recently there was
Yeah.
a report that 1 kilo of the meat has got 42 milligram of antibiotic residue. So very, very bad.
Wow.
So I
Great.
am
Thank you.
also discussing with some of the poultry people whether they can reduce the antibiotic use. But we are not doing much on the poultry because nobody care about the large animal where milk is produced, and in India everybody drink milk. So that is one of the things which we
Mhm.
have taken as our priority. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Nair.
Great. Thank you.
And thank you, Martin. Thank you, Professor Nair. The question is similar to or related somehow with the question of Mark. If other colleagues in other countries would want to use these products, could they do it, or how would they know? How could they do it?
I think they can use it because it depends on the government policies. I can prepare it and then bulk market it to especially for Africa and everything. You can use, because there, but Europe it is very difficult because European rules are different. Their understanding is different. For treatment, we cannot use it. That's what I understand. But we also helped the Netherlands to grow this plant in the meadow so that the animal can eat it. But how much effective it is, I don't know. We have to do a lot of studies in that. But
Good
Europe, it
question.
is difficult because of the policy, it is very difficult. Or else they
All
may
right.
have to now change some of these policies with an open mind. Because we are telling that it is safe and efficacious, then they should permit people to use it.
All right. Thank you, Professor Nair. And I don't see any further questions in the chat. So thank you very much for those that attended and posted their questions. I sure found it quite interesting and innovative for us that I used to use other products and handle all the things related with that, like the draw period, residues, etc., etc., etc. So this brought a fresh perspective, a different perspective than the one that we are used to handle. So thank you for that. Marina, our admin assistant, already posted in the chat the feedback form, so please do fill it in. It's very useful for us to collect suggestions and ideas of what we can do. If you have other ideas, you can always email us to antimicrobial-resistance@fao.org. And the next webinar of this series will be on the 14th of August from 3 to 4 Central European time, and we'll disseminate the topic and the speaker via the usual dissemination channels. So thank you very much for attending, and I wish you all the rest of a good day.
Thank you for the, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Professor Nair. Have a good day.